Greetings, friends from the 18th century. Tonight, I have a letter to write back to my friend, Daniel Atkinson. So, necessity compels me to put a seal on it with wax. So I thought it'd be an opportune moment to teach and to instruct how I use my wax and my seal to produce this here. So stay tuned and I'll show you every little detail. We'll start out with the wax itself. This wax we actually sell on our online store, and I'll leave a link for it in the description below. And in the 18th century, sealing wax was oftentimes made with vermilion, which is a poisonous dye chemical that's used to get this famous red color. So thankfully these days we can get the color without using the poisonous vermilion. But this is a wax stick that we sell. I think they're $2.50 right now. They should last you at least, I would say, 5 or 6 letters per stick. So tonight I have a shout out for Daniel Atkinson, my friend up in New Jersey, who has bought one of our writing desks, as I use frequently on the channel here. And so I have a link for those in the description below. And if you please, I would appreciate it if you could like and subscribe to our channel to see future content like this. So I thought it would be interesting for you to see an original 18th century seal. This is one from Germany, probably from the 1770s or thereabouts. And as you can see, it has a beautiful crest on it. I couldn't ever quite make out what the crest was, but it's lines flanking a shield of some sort. But anyway, to think that that has held up, there's a little cracking in it, as you can see, but that's held up quite a long time. And I wanted to show it to you, particularly to compare it with the color of the wax sticks that we sell. So as you can see, it's pretty close. There's a good chance that there's vermilion in that seal there to get that red color, but thankfully we don't have that in our sticks of wax. So let's go on to the seals themselves. Here's my collection of seals. Some are original and some are reproduction. We have here 3 original wafer seals. These are probably from the last quarter of the 18th century, possibly even into the early 19th century. But as you can see, the turnings on them are quite well executed. It appears that they all 3 have a brass head on them, and as you can see with that one, it has a decorative filigree around the edges, and the lower part of the base, it looks like possibly a little bright cut work there. These are actually the most common type of 18th century wax seals that you'll see. Some of these are usually flat, and I like that, so you can set them upright and see the different sizes, so I can choose based on the size of the blob that I have. But typically I like to use this one here. That one's my pet. This seal is turned what looks like of ebony, and it has initials on it, and I believe it's probably modern. It's probably in the 1900s, early 1900s, maybe late 1800s at best. This one is probably about the same time period, turned on ebony, but has a really interesting shield with an arm coming out of it, and some nice bright work around the rim there. These 2 are fairly modern, probably from the 60s or 70s. You'll find these even now on the internet with just the old English type of letters. I don't hardly ever use those. This is a takeoff on a watch fob seal. You would see these probably more common. This isn't an original, but it could certainly be from that same strain of thought. And this is my custom one that Mark Thomas, my friend in Dayton, Virginia, made for me. He turned this part down on his lathe, and he's such a talent that he can just hand engrave stuff like this for fun. Mark is the most talented man in America, in my opinion, and you can see why. He's quite skilled. Then I took a piece of a deer antler and added this handle so I could make a watch fob seal out of that one. I use that one pretty frequently also. Also, for original seals, you can find these on eBay from time to time. They're not too expensive. They'll probably be less than $100. So keep your eyes out and look for something like this, or something with a nice coat of arms if you like, whatever suits you. There's many to choose from, but if you can pick out an original, it certainly adds to the quality and the historical authenticity of your letter writing. I get ready to use my wax seals. What I do is I get my candle pretty close by. I haven't even struck it with flint and steel yet. And then I will take the seal that I plan on using, and I'll orient it just exactly the way it should be, so there's no guesswork. So I'll make sure that I've got it turned the proper way, just like that. Then I get my stick of wax handy, just like that. And then I get my letter ready, and I usually put the seal, the blob of wax, about here. And I must say that I put it on first before I put everything else around it, because if you put everything else around it, then you put the blob and you miss with the blob, you've covered up important direction for your letter, and that's not good. So now, before we light up the candle, I wanted to show you my technique. So what I do, and you'll see this in the video, but what I do, instead of heating the stick of wax at the end, what I do is I heat the wax stick about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch back from the end, and then I'll actually rotate it like this, just back and forth. And so I'm continuously trying to keep that hot blob on there without it dripping, because it will drip, and it'll drip into here, and it becomes a pain, and then it makes a mess, and it clogs up the wick and all that, and it'll do that. But anyway, the main thing is you don't want to get it so hot that it turns black or that it lights on fire. I have done both of those. It's not the end of the world if it does. Just be aware of it. So try to keep it hot about right here. And then when you just physically can't keep it on any longer and it's dripping off, go ahead and put it on there like that. I'll show you. Okay, so it's starting to get a little liquefied now. So I'm just going to keep rotating it a little bit. My flame isn't too boisterous tonight, so that's actually a good thing. Slower is better. We're in no hurry here. So just keep rotating it about 3/4 of an inch from the end, and now you can see it's starting to turn molten, and it's starting to want to flop over. So we're just going to keep heating it and rotating it until we can't stand it anymore. Just like that. Sometimes I'll give it a twist when I put it down on the paper too. But when you go down the paper, you gotta act pretty quick to seal it. It doesn't wait. It's all about timing, and it never turns out perfect for me. So hopefully that'll encourage you too. Okay. I breathe on it, press down and hold. So it displaces, when I push down the seal, it actually displaces the blob of ink out pretty nice. So I want you to see how it looks before I remove it. And there we go. So there's the finished product of our labors. What I did, as soon as it turned into a blob and I got it on the paper, I turned the seal up to my mouth and breathed on it, just as if I was wanting to breathe if I were outside to see my breath. That coats it with a little bit of moisture, and I think that helps to give it a little bit of a better print. So there's my initials and our South Carolina crescent, hand engraved by my friend Mark Thomas. Many of the items that we have I'm using in the video tonight are for sale on our online store. We have professionally cut quills that are ready to use. We have the glass ink pots. We have the ink that you can put in the ink pots. We have some seals. We have the red wax. And we have laid paper. It's perfect for writing these letters on. Plus, the book by Jim Daniel, A Proper Hand, which teaches how to use your pen and how the whole process of writing a letter is accomplished. All that will be in the description below. Thanks for watching.